Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared's not here, man.
Jared's not here.
Jared's in Tennessee. But hey, how you doing? I forget the thing. Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our little show, the Guitar Knobs podcast, and listening to our little show with us and actually helping us with this one. Across the table from me is
John Esterly with Rare Buzz Effects.
Correctamundo. You've heard him before, and he's going to share in some happy pedal fun times with our special guest. Who are you, special guest?
Hi, I'm Chris Jahnle from Vaderin Pedals.
Vaderin Pedals, that's correct. You got that right. Wow.
That's exactly how we were going to pronounce it.
I know. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, Vaderin?
Yeah,
No, your last name.
My last name.
Yeah, not like we did research on that or anything. You've obviously no doubt seen a lot lately of a very special the HPX photo or pedal. Sorry, John's taking a photo. I'm so easily influenced by things.
Very nice. You're so polished, Todd.
I know. And you've been running a lot of the, specials on those. And just for people that may not be familiar, I think they have little tiny X's on them, and you've been running them in awesome colors, and they sound fantastic. Where can people see these things, Chris?
On Instagram, I'm Vaderin Pedals, Vaderin Pedals, and then Vaderin.com is the website.
Right.
Those are the best places to
Excellent.
check them out.
We've got 4 on the table here, not on the floor, that we're going to go over with Chris and find out a little bit more about his story, and he's going to tell us about these awesome pedals. In the meantime, I've got to say a few quick announcements.
Please do.
Get to my announcement page. Announcements. Here we go. I wanted to give a huge shout out to the best marching band in the land. No, not the Ohio State marching band, but the Thomas Worthington High School marching band, which my daughter is a sousaphonist in. And a special shout out to Isaac Sullivan, who is a fan of the show that I ran into last night at a big band gala last night, marching band gala. And you know what he plays?
Xylophone.
Trombone.
What would that make him?
A trombonist. But he's not a guitar player, but he loves the show.
Well,
I thought that
go.
was fantastic.
Well,
So shout out to you, Isaac.
Hey, can I say something?
Yes.
The wah pedal
Yes.
was originally developed to create a trombone-like sound.
Wow, that would be really hard to play with your mouth. You're like, that was good, Novak. So anyways, back to Isaac and all of the people of that particular high school band. You guys are awesome, and I'm so glad to be an extension of it as a parent. So, also, we want to say, hopefully you listened to all of the Spark Amp goodness and everything.
Oh, Sparky.
And we did the giveaway. We talked about it at length. If you still want to get one of those and you still want to get the discount on it,
who wouldn't?
Guitar Knobs 10, all caps, Guitar Knobs 10, put it in, and I believe it works with all of the other compounded deals that they have going on.
Worked for me. So
I highly recommend getting on that action. All right, that's what I got. I'm done.
That's lots of announcements.
It's 2. So this week is what we're going to talk about right now. What's going on in our music worlds this week, gentlemen? We're going to start off with Tony, and he's going to tell us what he had, and then we're going to hear from Chris.
I'm going to tell you a little story. So in the mail today showed up my 2022 Vintage Guitar Magazine price guide, which is actually really cool. I think I've got all of these that go back into the 90s now. And it's for those who don't know, it is kind of a pretty good indicator of what the market is doing, what guitars are worth. The cool thing about this particular publication is not only does it do guitars, but it does basses, amps, as well as effects pedals, and gives you some good ideas as to what things are. I mean, there are some shortcomings, and obviously with a book this size, you can't cover every stinking model that is out there. But, you know, even if you go into the Fender and the Gibson sections, there's still a lot of the Strat models, Tele models, or the Gibson Les Paul or SG models in there. And it's just handy to have if you're going to a guitar show, if there ever is another guitar show. I think there will be some.
Yeah, there's a couple. They've been around.
Yeah.
They've been happening.
So it gives you a general idea. Interestingly, this year, they kind of do a recap of what's been going on. And we are, apparently on our way. What they do is they take 42 guitars, and they've tracked them over the years to kind of see if you combined all of those together, what the grand total would be. And they include things, it's not, I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff on there, but there's some Fenders, Martins, and Gibsons on there. And it looks like, based on the chart, that we are coming back to a point where I think the all-time high was in 2008, which those 42 guitars came very close to being $100,000 total. It dropped every year since 2008, but then it started to make a climb back in just a couple of years ago. So the chart is looking like it's going in the upper direction. And what's they also give some ideas, like a lot of the Japanese Fender things are increasing in higher value. Anything related to Eddie Van Halen shot up like 20 or 30% in value, and it's just a really cool thing. So for I think it's like $35 or $36 shipped. It's well worth having if you are interested in guitars or knowing what your stuff is worth.
I wonder how close that I guess matches up with like the reverb statistics. The analytics analyses.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reverb stuff is based strictly on what things have sold for, which is actually a pretty good indicator too. One of the downsides of this publication is they don't list anything that's less than refins or different things like that. But there's specific math that you can calculate based off of what something is near mint or excellent condition.
So if you like the Farmer's Almanac, this book is for you.
Yeah, and it's got some cool photos and things in it, and lots of good information.
Awesome. Excellent. Let's see here. Chris, what's going on in the music world?
Well, I'm getting ready to move, so I am thinning the herd of all the gear.
Really?
And, just going through all my stuff, which I have a lot of gear, and just picking a couple things out to, post on Reverb and sell.
Do you have a specific store, or are you just listing them? They're just random.
Like a specific reverb shop?
Yeah.
I do. I have a Vaderin reverb shop, but then I have a personal one too. I put all my personal gear on my personal shop, so not like mix the two looks. Like
that's what I meant. I'm sorry. You're like, yeah, I sell the pedals on Reverb. Duh.
Obviously.
I meant so. Thank you for clarifying my dumbness.
Oh yeah, no problem.
What are some of the highlights of what you're selling?
So I have a pretty huge Teisco collection.
I love them.
I probably have 20 Teisco guitars in various states of disrepair. Some are in good condition, but some are not. So I'm parting out a bunch and, assembling like part lots to post those and going through some pedals. But one of the cool pieces that's actually up right now is it's a limited Tyler the Creator signature Strat which is kind of like a weird signature strat because, you know, Tyler the Creator doesn't play guitar, but it was like given out at his music festival a couple years ago, and he actually gifted this to me.
Wow.
But I'm moving that along, and one of those Teisco WG4Ls. I don't know if you guys know Teisco models specifically, but I just like fix that one up.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like another hobby I have in addition to making pedals. Is just like.
Are you selling any any mayflies or anything like that? That's the semi-hollow one that's kind of got a very odd painter's palette shape, I guess.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I'm not, but I have. I think it's the EB200 hollow body, the bass. I have one of those, and I have the guitar version of it too. Cool. Hollow body Teiscos.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm holding on to those though.
Well,
those are hard to get a hold of these days. But
yeah, everybody likes the old Japanese stuff. It's definitely in vogue right now, and usually kind of always. I mean, everybody likes the idea of them.
Yeah, I think for a lot of it, it's just time to, you know, move it back to people who have the time to, you know,
to move it on
them,
over,
refurb them, yeah,
and to rock it on over. John Esterly, go ahead, John.
Well, so a few months ago, I got one of the Squier Cyclone Paranormal Series guitars for the studio, and I've been kind of digging around with that at the studio. But here in the last couple of weeks, I got a second one for home. I'm kind of doing the Todd Novak thing where all my guitars at home are going to be the same color scheme, although mine's white with tortoise guards a little bit. Yeah. So got one of those, and to make a long story short, I was getting a little fret buzz in the middle of the neck, and I started thinking I was a luthier for a minute and mucked around with it, and now it has become so much worse than it was when I started that I've kind of thrown my hands up. So I ordered, you know how it goes. If you're going to have somebody dig into it anyway, do all the stuff on it you want to do. So I got new pickups, which is one of the weak points in those Cyclones. They're just kind of flat.
Yeah.
And then got new tuners and a new bridge. So all those parts are on the way. And as soon as they get here, we'll take a small project and make it into a big one.
So. There you go.
Doing the fret buzz stuff and the the setup is kind of, it's, to me, it is like the little crappy carnival game where you got to get all the BBs on the face or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, inside, and then never ever.
No.
Like if you, I got this one, and they all fall apart.
It is a skill set that I am happy to admit that I just do not possess. Yeah. So I'm going to defer to the experts on that.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Always a safe choice.
Yes.
Todd?
Well, I started watching the Sparks Brothers.
The Sparks Brothers.
Yes, it's a new rockumentary, if you will, about the Sparks.
Oh, Sparks.
It's called Sparks Brothers.
But it's not the Sparks.
It's the Sparks Brothers.
But Sparks.
Yes, the band is called Sparks. Yes. I swear.
Fact check.
Anyways. So now
so there's this show.
Flustered,
there's
Tony.
this show.
There's a show. And it's about the two guys that make up Sparks. And to Tony's credit, it's not the Sparks. It's just Sparks. So we've established that. I've said that 1,000 times now. Very exciting about that. I started watching it. I did not get far because I realized I had to finish the last episode of Squid Game first.
Yes, must watch that.
Sparks were famous for their just avant-garde approach to rock and pop and everything, and so many musicians credit their love of music and their own limit pushing to what they did. So
very experimental.
I'm really excited about this. It's going to be I'm going to learn a lot, which I'm excited about. So, so there, go check it out.
Regular tabula rasa.
Sure. Yeah.
cool
Mojito.
note about the Sparks. I know the dudes in the band, in the backing band for the Sparks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sam KS, Patrick Kelly, and Evan Weiss. You know those dudes from LA.
Nice.
Two of them were in a band called Super Rat that I worked for the management company that managed those guys. So
Nice.
it was cool to see them. They're in the video. I didn't know that they had done it. I haven't talked to them in a couple years now, but
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. What a cool gig, you know?
The cast that's in this is pretty remarkable. It's Russell and Ron, who make up Sparks. Mike Myers in there, Jane Weedland, Jason Schwartzman, Fred Armisen, Weird Al, Flea, Beck, Jojo Moroder, Todd Rundgren, John Taylor, like Nick Rhodes, all these guy, Andy Bell, Thurston Moore. And it's like this huge list of people. It goes on and on and on.
I'm kind of offended they didn't invite me to participate.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not, or else I wouldn't watch it. Okay, so anyways, we are going to do some of this action right now.
Hey, John.
Hey, Tony.
I noticed that you have sitting in front of you 4 very nice pedals.
From where?
From Vaderin Pedals.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I think I've heard
quite
of these
a coincidence
guys. Yeah,
that
I've heard of these guys.
that we have Chris as
We're
a
actually
guest.
doing a show about that very soon.
Oh, no
and,
kidding.
and you have
Yes.
4 pedals there.
I have 4.
What I'm kind of curious is they're sitting there, but there are no patch cables between them.
Oh, well, see, the only possible way to use guitar effects is one at a time. Guitar into the... No, there's another way?
No. Let me turn you on to Tour Gear Design patch cables.
Patch cables, you
Patch
say?
cables. They're short.
Oh.
They're flat. They're dependable.
Flat
they're inexpensive.
Yes.
Flat like a pancake or like
More like a crepe.
Like a crepe.
More
okay.
like a crepe.
Right.
And they're very, very small. They're very flexible. I can't say enough about them. I think you,
Me?
as a pedal guy,
Yeah.
should use Tour Gear Design cables between your pedals.
That's a brilliant idea. Actually, in all seriousness, I did order a bunch of Tour Gear Designs cables to put together my own personal home pedal board. Since
There you go. You beat me to it. How about you, Chris? Have you ever heard of these things?
Yeah, sure have. I ordered a bunch too. In fact, I used the Guitar Knobs discount code to do it.
Excellent.
Right on.
Todd, tell us more.
Well, why don't you head down to tourgeardesigns.com and you can plug in the guitar knobs into your discount code, and you're going to save 10% on your entire order. We always say your entire order because it is insane that you would only buy one cable.
If you do that, here's what's going to happen.
And get a bunch of them.
You're going to buy one, and you say, why didn't I order a bunch more of these? And then you're going to place another order.
That's correct.
But do yourself a favor. Take it from everybody here. Just order.
We're all using them.
Just order a bunch of them.
They're great.
And if you've got side jacks and top jacks mixed around on your pedal
perfect
board,
for those.
they've got all sorts of different sizes, lengths, orientations.
And configurations.
Configurations.
And if you need more space on your board, I would say you could easily sneak in an extra 2, maybe 3 pedals using Tour Gear Design cables.
Agreed. All right, tourgeardesigns.com. Go get yourself the discount, the guitar knobs. Thank you to Tour Gear for sponsoring our 4 on the floor. John.
Let me get a little some of this.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Chris Jahnle from Vaderin Pedals. Give us your 4 on the floor.
All right, cool. So first, well, like everybody, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I went through a couple combinations, but ended up settling on this one. It's like what I'm actually playing right now. So first up is the When the Sun Explodes from Beautiful Noise pedals. It's their like big reverb pedal, and this pedal is really cool. It's a reverb pedal, but it has a really cool feedback section. You can flip between like a harmonic tremolo and just like a regular delay section, and it also has a boost on it. Interesting choice for the beginning of the chain. I've been really into like, you know, putting reverb before my drives and fuzzes lately. You know, kind of doing the shoegaze thing a little bit, but this pedal is really great for that because it has the boost. And you can dial in a lot of different reverb settings. You can do like the short kind of spring reverb tank or the huge like cascading washes of reverb. It's really versatile. It's like a really cool looking pedal too.
It is. It's beautiful. I love the artwork on it.
I love the name.
What are the two switches on the back on the back face? You've got an in, you've got an out.
Oh
you've got an
those are the
pedal, and clipping.
They have clipping diode selections on the back, so you can choose like what clipping you want your feedback to go through. It's definitely like the shoegazers kind of reverb. Like it's geared toward that, but
it's got.
I really like
dry,
it.
wet, and a wet only.
Yeah, for the
that's really neat. I like the wet only thing.
Yeah,
the dry wet.
And then in the middle, the foot switch is a feedback hold foot switch. So if you want to like have that feedback swell happen, you know, and go into self oscillation, you can just step down on it and let that happen.
Wow,
which is really nice for like those feedback swells. You don't have to bend down and like turn up the feedback knob.
Oh, that's fun.
You can just step on it and hold it, and then it like does its thing. And that's really cool in front of your fuzz or drive, you know, if you're going to have everything go crazy.
Yeah. I feel like our pal Jeff Schroeder would be all over this pedal.
Yeah. That's a pretty substantial pedal too. That's a big old boy.
Yeah.
It's big. It's like a really cool company. They have another pedal called the Endless Sleeper, which is really cool. I don't have that, but I've had this one for a little over a year. I think it's been out for a couple years now. But yeah, it's a really cool.
Did you get the black one, or what color is yours?
I've got black. Yeah. I think he did other colorways too.
Yeah.
But,
pink, seafoam green, and powder blue.
Yeah. When I jumped in, I think there were only black available, but seafoam green would be a cool one.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'm nervous to like sell it and try to get a colored one. I want to hang on to it. You know?
Yeah, you could do a trade with him and tell him to do like a paint splash, and then I think a paint splash one would look pretty sweet on.
Yeah,
just all crazy splatter paint. That's very cool. That's a great first pedal. What do you got for number 2?
All right, so number 2, I wanted to have a harmonic percolator, and right now the choices are amazing for harmonic percolators. If you're in the market for a harmonic percolator, there are a lot of awesome pedals, but I ended up picking the Champion Lecky Divi.
Oh, yeah.
Love Wooly. He's awesome. He's just down the street from me in Philly here. We hung out the other day.
Nice.
He's a great guy.
He is.
Makes awesome pedals. Super nice guy.
And delightfully weird.
Yes. Well, I mean, we all are a little bit. But anyway, so the Divi is a harmonic percolator. It has the toggle switch. You can flip between some different voicings, some different EQ voicings.
Mm-hmm.
And
can you explain for some of our listeners who may not know what a harmonic?
No, we're gonna save that for his pedal.
Oh,
yeah, Tony and his big ideas.
We'll talk. We'll go down the rabbit hole a little bit
Okay.
with the percolators.
Yeah,
I feel like I have to kind of get into the percolator thing a little bit here.
Right. Okay.
But I wanted to say a notable thing about the Divi is that it's an all silicone harmonic percolator. So both transistors are silicon transistors, and because the Interfax one it's a hybrid pedal. It has a silicon and a germanium transistor in it. Same thing with like the HP2, also the Electro Foods percolators, hybrid pedals, but Lecky's is all silicon. And I was sort of like, I had tried some harmonic jerkulator-esque configurations with all silicon, but I didn't like any of it until I played the Divi, and then I was like, maybe I can find a combination that is equally as rad as Wooley's. So that's why it's on my 4 on the floor. It kind of gave me the idea and courage to go with all silicon harmonic percolator design for the HPX.
Plus, it comes with really cool stickers.
And cool key fobs and
everything, cool everything,
all the cool stuff.
Sweet, like severed limbs on a note card, which is
hey, you'll have that.
But so there's this cool thing. It also looks awesome next to the When the Sun Explodes. They're both like black, and this one's etched. The Divi is etched. They look really cool together. They look like they're a good pair, and they are, because I don't know if anybody has sent reverb through a harmonic percolator lately, but that's a pretty cool sound that you get there. It's pretty. So it can be evil, but it can be pretty. That's kind of the cool bit about a percolator that I like.
Yeah.
So gotta have a percolator.
We talked about that at length, actually, which we'll get into when we get to yours.
How about number 3?
Okay. All right, number 3. Had to go with the Electronic Audio Experiments Halberd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what an awesome pedal, right?
Yeah. That's definitely one of the ones we've had an opportunity to try out.
Oh yeah,
it's great stuff.
I have that one.
No.
Yeah, you guys know all about that pedal. I'm sure anybody listening has at least it's on their radar. I mean, it started as a hybrid. I love hybrid circuits like silicon and germanium together, usually like a silicon gain stage hitting a germanium gain stage is like my ideal sound. So when I heard that, Electronic Audio Experiments was like doing this pre and post gain thing, and there was some EQ controls and it was a hybrid circuit, I was like, okay, I'm in. And the demos were amazing, so grabbed one. Then they came out with this like green dragon sparkle finish, grabbed that.
Oh wow.
And then the V2 came out, and I was like, well shoot. Gotta have that. Like,
now what do you see?
And he shrunk it.
In the V2, what's different?
It has the sweet toggle switch. It has a clang mode.
Oh yeah.
And I think it has the bottom mode is like higher gain. It's a little bit more gritty. The middle mode is like the standard. I like it on standard, and I just like it always on. It's like my main tone shaping and gain shaping. Like I'll just turn things on around it and leave it on, and it just like, an awesome sound for your guitar.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a guitar pedal, but yeah, and putting a percolator before the halberd is an awesome combination. That's just like, it's like an excellent pairing if you just hit the front end of the halberd and send it into a little bit crazier overdrive with the percolator. That's like a really nice 1-2 punch if you want to go up a notch.
So you run the percolator in front of the halberd, you said?
Yeah. So Divi in the halberd or any percolator into halberd is like a seriously awesome combination.
So I think most people, the idea of having a preamp, because this is in effect a preamp, run it in front of things, but you're running your drives in front of the preamp.
Yeah, I like having all that breakup just go into that end of the halberd and even have it just be amplified that much more by it.
Yeah, I'll have to try that. I didn't try that like a dum-dum. I did not do that.
Like, I think this 4 on the floor is definitely something to put down and actually give a shot. For everybody listening at home, it's kind of a counterintuitive thing, but
yeah, you're kind of running everything backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds really crazy though. It sounds good. I mean, I don't know.
I can hear you smiling when you say that, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, percolator and the halberd is like my latest favorite thing. And I was actually, I was talking to Brendan from Noise Generator when he was doing the HPX thing. He was like, "You should try that. It's sweet." And I was like, "Okay, I'll try that." So
I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
And now it's like it's like my favorite combo.
Very cool. What do you got for number 4?
Okay, so the last one, it was tough to pick. I guess, so I ended up going with the Ibanez DL10.
Oh.
Which is like, so I feel like I need to explain myself here.
You got some explaining to do.
I've got some sweet boutique, like, pedals up front, and then just like finishing off this signal chain with like well, that's not weird, but this kind of left of center digital delay.
Yeah.
I really like putting a short delay at the end of everything, and the DL10, it stays like, it doesn't get too bright and it stays dark and clean. I just set it really short just so it kind of, there's this thing about like short delay. You set a short delay time, it kind of expands, and it makes everything seem huge. It's also, the DL10 is also awesome because it has, it's like, has 2 outputs. Just gonna take a look at it. Yeah, it's got the dry out and the delay out. So there's a lot of options there if you're having so I'll set it short and use it to either split amps or run stuff in parallel.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like an awesome tool for that. Like a lot of people use a chorus for that. Like an Ibanez chorus or like an analog chorus or something. But DL10 is my kind of go-to for that, because to me it just it keeps everything clean, and it's like a nice complement to like an all analog kind of dirt section or something. And the dude who put the DL10 on my radar is this guy Andy Villalobos, who plays in a band called James Super Cave. He's one of my good buddies from LA. We were talking about delay. He actually helped me with the Tone Fox. He like helped me prototype it and gave me some feedback like way early in the game before.
Which is not a delay, by the way.
It's not a delay. It's it's one of the overdrives we'll talk about.
Oh, I wasn't telling you that. I was telling everybody else that.
Yeah, so he was like, we were talking about delay, and I was talking about analog delay, because I was always a memory man guy. I was always the Lux memory man. I was like, gotta have the memory man. Like, I won't use anything else. Like, digital delay is BS, But then he explained the DL10 to me, and now it's just like, I can't,
that's got
kind of a part of a board. And it's cool. I mean, I think they're fairly inexpensive these days.
Yeah, they're about like $120 or on Reverb, anywhere from 99 to 135, something like that.
Yeah, because I was looking at like the 89. I mean, obviously the Deluxe Memory Man is massive, except now they made it tiny. The EHX made the Memory Man like baby size now.
Yeah,
and it's like hilarious.
It's pretty pricey. I mean, all things considered,
it's like $300.
Yeah. For a smaller pedal and one that has been around for so long.
But I wanted to do the 89. In my mind, I was like, oh, that's the delay for me, like the small format delay or whatever, to do this thing, splitting signals, short delay time at the end of your chain. And I tried, just like super bright, and I didn't really like it. But I really like this. It has a weird chip in it. It's like one of those it has this giant digital delay chip. I used to know which one it was, but I don't remember what it's called anymore.
Let's call it a 175.
Sure.
The 175 chip.
That'll work. Let's do that.
Nice. Sweet. 175 chip. So yeah, that's the end of my floor.
We encourage everyone to go buy stock in 175 chips. It's going to skyrocket after this. Well, that's a mighty nice 4 on the floor, man. That's cool. I love getting introduced to new things.
That first one,
and new ways of doing things. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. So, speaking of awesome pedals and rethinking things and putting own twists, I didn't say any of that previous to what I just said, but now that I've said it, let's talk about that. Vaderin Pedals. Tony's doing a quick take. What did you just say? I don't know. Vaderin Pedals, we are going to find out more about the pedals that Chris is making. And the number one thing on everybody's mind right now, what's up with the name, man?
What's up with Vaderin Pedals? Okay, so the name Vaderin. When I started out, I didn't want a name that was like easily. I wanted to come up with a made up word, and when I was coming up with a name, I wrote down a giant list of name possibilities, and one of them was invader. But I knew that I wanted to make up a made up word, and so I just took the in from invader and stuck it on the end, and because I thought Vaderin sounded cool. And I also wanted to just own search for the word Vaderin. Mm-hmm. Like if you type in Vaderin into Google, it's just me for like 2 pages. So it's kind of an easy way to stake out real estate. And it's really just Invader, that little spaceman mask logo. I had that, some artwork, some stencil artwork that I had laying around. And, I was like, oh, he's my mascot. He's the invader. So that's where I got the name from. Probably the most comprehensive description of how I came up with the name.
The big one on everybody's radar right now, at the moment, if you look on Instagram, if you look on your website, wherever you're looking, we're seeing the HPX all over the place. So get us kicking on that real quick.
Okay, cool. So I had made the Tone Fox and the Cherry Fuzz, and I had those out, and people were like, "Cool," but it was kind of not. It hadn't really caught people's attention, let's say. And so I kind of realized, like, I had put the original circuits. I hadn't really done like a known quantity or something, and I had just discovered what a harmonic percolator was, like. Probably the end of, beginning of 2020, end of 2019, end of 2020. I was like, oh, wow, there's this whole thing. It's, Steve Albini. It's a crazy circuit. It's like secret. I looked up all the online articles. I went down the rabbit hole.
For those who don't know what a harmonic percolator is or does, or what the legacy of it might be, cool. Why are people so hot on it?
There was a lot of like mystique about it. There was a video with Steve Albini, like literally hopping around his studio.
Steve Albini is from?
He's a famous music producer. He produced In Utero by Nirvana and he produced Surfer Rosa by the Pixies, like a bunch of albums in that time. He was also in a band called Big Black. He's in a band called Shellac.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Big Black fan. Love those albums from the 80s. Songs about F Word and Atomizer. And so there's this video online about him like hopping around and saying, talking about harmonic percolators and how he uses them and all this stuff. Some people had come out with some circuits, and it was like everybody was wanting to know like what the actual circuit was and what the components were and stuff. I don't remember how many years ago this was, but I think when I kind of caught that whole arc, it was a few years kind of played out, and a bunch of clones had come, a bunch of original takes on the circuit had been put out, a bunch of combinations with, like speaking of electronic audio experiments, they did the Dude Incredible with Electro Foods and stuff. So it had been like a pretty well-tread circuit at that point. And, I think most recently the HP2 by Land Devices kind of, got a huge, like people are flipping those on reverb left and right, and they're in big high demand and everything. So there was kind of a moment to me in the last year where I was like, I just want a reliable, solid percolator on my board that's not going to break the bank, that I can get. No one's like able to keep their percolator in stock a lot. And I didn't want one with like more than 2 knobs. And there wasn't one out there. So, I just dialed in on the circuit and put it together. I tried like a ton of different transistor combinations, ended up settling on the one that became the HBX. And I just tweaked it. I was doing other stuff at the time, and it was kind of like an afterthought for me to put that out, because I'd put out the vaporizer. I thought like the vaporizer was going to be my big pedal of the year and that kind of thing. Like, I thought it was so cool. I mean, it's a cool pedal, but the next month I put out the HBX, and then like everybody was like, wow, I really like this. And then everybody ended up picking one up. And people are just still grabbing them, and I'm super busy. I'm just making them every day. I'm like making a pile of HPXs and moving them on, and people are really liking them. But yeah, I just wanted it to be like, kind of a straight ahead overdrive to like gnarly fuzz and have some serious range.
It's kind of an all-in-one thing if you don't want it to sound like a normal thing. And
totally.
By that, I just like some of the electronics in it. I've heard reference to like the odd and the even approach to how they're lined up.
Right. So I think like in the lore, or in like what people think of when they think of percolator, they think like it's got to have that germanium transistor in there, and it's got to have this like special combination of capacitors to get that like Albini sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, this is probably like a biasing thing mostly, because it's an interesting transistor topology that makes up the circuit. And when I started messing around with like how it was biased, it kind of occurred to me that a lot of the schematics that are floating around out there aren't really like the best, in my opinion, like the best way to bias this thing. And it was interesting to kind of see what the other builders had did in their circuits as well. So
and it's a pretty simple set of components too. I mean, there's not a ton to it. But how you organize those is the
exactly. And I think that's why everybody kind of, or not everybody, I mean, a lot of the a lot of the iterations on the circuit kind of went with like all these really expansive feature sets, because there's a lot you can do here. I mean, you can get octave up and down and self oscillation, and you can just like have this circuit go absolutely bonkers. And have knobs coming out everywhere and switches and all these options. But I just wanted to like set it up as a really solid distortion overdrive. And, I think what ended up coming out was like, I think it accomplished what I was going for.
Nice.
People dig it. One
thing that I really like about that is specifically the one that you gave us over here to play with was, and it's orange and black, which is awesome.
Yeah, nice,
nice touch. Is I know that the knee-jerk reaction is to just go kind of gun it and just see how crazy it can get. But I gotta say, I really loved the tones that were in the lower gain section of that they just worked really well with the other things that I was plugging into, and actually, how it was complementing my style of playing. And as you were talking, man, it can go from a really like, I mean, for lack of better terms, it is an asymmetric kind of feeling thing. It doesn't feel. There's an openness to it too. It's not like when if you hit some fuzz pedals, all you hear is a fuzz. Just like if you hit a phaser, it's like, guess what? Here's your phaser in your face. And this has a lot of openness to it. It doesn't just turn into round mush. You can dig in and you can get that attack.
It has a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, or attack.
Yeah, so my thing about top end is always like to keep the low end like really tight, and not like get it muddy,
Yeah. Yep.
Let it get muddy. And so it was kind of like a 1-2 punch here for me, where it was like pick the capacitors, but also bias the circuit in such a way that the low end stays tight, the top stays nice, and you can get like really clean. Like it almost gets clean when you turn that left knob down all the way, basically.
Yeah.
And then, the volume knob has that low pass filter on it. So
yeah, and then the switch in the middle,
keep the highs less hissy,
Yeah.
And then the switch, you got the clipping diodes. So the clipping diodes don't actually kick in until you get to like, what is it, like 9 or 10 o'clock. So there's, it gets like really low gain in the front, but then in the last 10% of the left knob, I mean, it is like totally squished. It's just like super gnarly, super loud.
It'll do that if you want
volume to it. I measure all the transistors inside. Like I only pick a certain gain range, like not too high, not too low. Even though they're silicon transistors, I still just measure them all, so that it just the combination bias is right every single time.
Well, and it makes each transistor feel important.
That's true. Well, they are, I think, here. Yeah.
So what's your typical? I mean, how many do you have to not use percentage wise that you're testing?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably like 50%.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I use them for other things.
Yeah.
The silicon transistors are so cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, like the 2N404A, I think right now is like $7, which is astronomical.
Wow.
And I do that alternate version of the percolator, and I put those in that, and I kind of kept that going. It's like a $20 kind of price difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, I'm also on this like small scale where I can do that. It's hard. It gets hard to source like, it's the Texas Instruments 2N404A. Like that's what was in the HP1. It's not like a Russian transistor or anything. Like I've got a spot to get those. So
now you found a way to also, aside from the actual sound design on this, you found a way to make it, I think, a unique offering, and that is the art on the pedal. It's highly recognizable, and it's super, super simple. Why don't you explain that to everybody?
So, well, I'm big on that pedal art. I think it's a huge part of guitar pedals as artwork. And I always wanted to use this on a pedal. I thought it was such a cool minimalist design. My sister, who also does the printing for a lot of the Vaderin pedals, she designs wallpaper and does patterns and stuff. So, I kind of like got influenced by her, and I was like, it would be cool to just have a pattern on a pedal and not like have any words or any labels or anything. And I just remembered Felix the cat, and he had this magic bag. I also always just wanted to call a pedal magic box.
Yeah.
But I feel like this reference is a little bit more, it's like a little bit deeper. So it's not so like blatantly obvious. It's like calling a pedal the magic bag or a magic box. It just was like the perfect storm of simplicity. And I think I got the HPX from the X on the design. It's just a great little, they kind of go with each other to me, the artwork and the sound of the pedal. It's like simple but effective but cool looking, has some vibe to it. You can do it in different colors, you know what I mean? That was like a big reason why I chose that. I mean, I knew I was going to do different colors.
Color versioning's huge, man.
It's sweet.
I don't know if you know that, but
well, the colors are a cool story too, because so the yellow and black was out for a while, and I got a message from these dudes, and they were like, "We're putting together a pink pedal board, and can you make us a pink and purple HPX?" And I was like, yes, absolutely.
Rad.
And I had some pink enclosures. And so my sister just printed the purple X's on it, and I posted them, and everybody was like, I want that one. So I got a bunch made, and I don't know what the numbers are, but I've pretty much sold 1 for 1 on the pink and the yellow, which I would have never in a million years been like, oh, pink and purple, this is going to be hot. But I think pink pedals are like happening right now, and so it was a good time to do it. And then I just picked my own combinations. I did the reverse, and I did green and purple. I think I like green and purple the best.
Yeah, that is a good looking color.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Dinosaur Jr. fan, so I kind of just copped their signature colorway. You know what I mean?
When I saw this orange and black one, you know what I said?
What?
Radio.
Nice.
That's for anybody under 75 years old.
Yeah.
That's Felix the Cat's catchphrase, which originally he was called Master Tom. Didn't know if anybody knew that, but
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Gee.
You're full of useful information.
Careful. Anyways, awesome. So the cool thing is, this is what we talked about a little bit before. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm just bringing it up now and it's some sort of like not a rehash, but Chris and I talked about this on the phone. I think one thing that you've done very well with something in a very simple format is also the beauty of pop art, which is we like things that are recognizable that are also unique. So things that are the same but also unique. It's a very rare combination. Andy Warhol did that, through the teeth. A lot of modern pop artists do that. And I think something that's really cool is you've got this look on this print on the front. And that's what people want. Everything else to do with it is fully customizable. At least from a version standpoint. So you've got a regenerationmachine.com.
That's yeah. Got all the domains these days. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think it's definitely a cool place to sit, and the feedback is well received. I think it's like a good combination. Yeah. Pop art and boutique pedals. I mean, I've always been into art. And like I said, my sister was like a big influence with some of the patterns she was doing for her wallpaper and stuff. So it kind of bled over a little bit. And I'm definitely, gonna like it with the Tone Fox and the Cherry Fuzz. Like it was like a step toward that, but I think putting it in the pattern and having that iconic reference to the Magic Bag it kind of like took it all the way over the line from that perspective. But like I'm already working on some new stuff. It's going to have like a similar vibe to it with the minimalist patterns and that sort of thing.
Cool.
I wouldn't sell the Cherry Fuzz short either, because that's where you got onto my radar. That was the first pedal that I saw, and it's a different style of kind of that pop art, but it's got almost like the icon design. Like it's a neat font and an icon, and it's two colors and very catchy.
Anodized red knobs on a white. Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The aesthetic of that was like slick. That I was trying to like, well, John, you know a lot about like fruit themed pedals,
Yeah.
And like that, we were like talking about that like a year ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you were like, oh, I'm coming out with a whole fruit lineup. And I was like, crap. But, I mean, it was like a step toward, I think, the pop art look. And then, with the vaporizer, I was like, I want to put like aliens and robots on my pedal too, not just like minimalist stuff. So the vaporizer is like over the top, like laser beams flying around kind of stuff.
It's definitely a divergence from the other three. There's a lot more going on with I mean, not that it's bad, but there's a lot more going on with the theme there.
And then you got Tone Fox, which is also a deliciously slick looking pedal. Tell us about the Tone Fox. I think that's a pretty interesting one.
The Tone Fox was the first circuit that I came up with that I was like, okay, this is awesome. I had been, I started building pedals and I had been coming up with my own circuits on the breadboard, that sort of thing. But the Tone Fox is the first time I was like, all right, people will be into this. And so I wanted it to be the first one I did. It's a hybrid distortion, like overdrive distortion. It's got a JFET first gain stage and a like a tone bender-ish kind of germanium transistor second gain stage. And
that's what the Philly boys do. They stick a JFET in everything.
They're delicious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to say that like to diminish the
Philly
work,
guys like, but
yeah, I mean it's kind of an interesting thing,
Well, I mean, the Tone Fox is like, if you look at the circuit, I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's a combination of a bunch of parts of a bunch of circuits that I was messing around with at the time. And one of the places I got started with understanding JFETs and how to bias them and how they work was the Runoff Groove Fetzer Valve project, which has like this kind of in-depth explanation about amping like tubes, and it goes really far into the rabbit hole. But I had been messing around with that on the breadboard, and I had got it to a place where I was like, hey, I like this. It's like a very exaggerated, I mean, I don't know if it sounds like a tube or whatever, but it sounded good. I really liked it. So I was like, it would be cool if, you smashed a tone bender kind of back end on this thing. And I, tried a bunch of caps and measured some stuff. And, it sounds unique. And like, I was talking about Andy earlier. This is one of those moments where, I was like, hey man, check this pedal I made. He's a musician. He's like a professional guitar player. He's like, cool. Let's see what you got here. You know what I mean? And it was like the first one I had built, and he just like put it on the floor and played it, and he just loved it. And it was like, hey, can I keep this kind of a thing, So that's like where I felt like the feedback was good and I should keep building pedals, And, I'll definitely mention too that before that, I mean, I had built another pedal, and my friend Colin Deshay from Low Hum. It was the same deal, it was like the second pedal I ever built. I brought it over his house. I was like, hey dude, look what I did. And he was like, cool, let's see what you got. And then he put it on his floor, on his board. And it just, it's like 3.5 years later, it's still there. It's like a signature sound. It's like on all his albums and stuff. And those two moments were really big for me. And they were basically just like, all right, I'm going to keep doing this no matter whatever else I'm doing. It's so fulfilling. I think the most fulfilling part about this is to see a musician of any shape or size take your pedal and put it on their board and get stoked and get happy and get like sounds from it that they like, that pushes their whole cause forward and their vibes forward, and just, makes them feel good about what they're doing. And that's like the most fulfilling piece for me, is to see a guitar player or any other musician, put some electrons through my pedal and make a dope sound. Like, that's what it's all about, really.
Heck yeah.
So, having these two guys that are my good friends and that I also have serious respect for as musicians turn around and be like, this is my favorite guitar pedal now. I was like, oh wow, I got to keep doing this. Like, this is the deal. This is like the best thing that's ever happened. You know what I mean?
And
like, I got to just keep making pedals, you know? So,
well, speaking of making pedals, can you reveal anything else that you have on the drawing boards?
well, yeah. So Colin and I, he just came out with his second album, and we were like, we got to do like a V2 of this like original fuzz. So I had put a circuit together 6 or 8 months ago, because I knew we were going to do this at some point. The V2 of that circuit that I had done would be. So he's in this band Low Hum. We're gonna put that signature Low Hum artist only pedal out. It's gonna be like limited, and it's got some really cool stuff going on. You know, it's got that same kind of hybrid thing, except doesn't have has a Darlington in the front. It's got some octave up in there, and the germanium gain stage in the back, and tone control, and like this crazy noise gate that you can mess with. So we're pretty stoked about that. And
awesome.
I actually have it like sitting here. He's on tour. I was trying to like get it to him and have it drop in halfway through the tour, but too many HPX orders coming in right now. So it's like
not a bad problem.
It's all good problems to have, you know?
Yeah.
So that's like the new thing. And then we're going to do that. And then I've been thinking about like, so with the HPX just like happening, and, you know, Tone Fox and Cherry Fuzz and the Vaporizer are, you know, they're going to get paused for a while. And I'm thinking about like different series that I can, like I have an idea for a pedal that I want to follow up the Colin pedal with, but I want to come up with 1, maybe 2 different like series that I can do like small runs of pedals on alongside of the pedals that I'm doing every month, you know, as like the main line. There's a lot of cool 70s fuzzes that I have built and rebuilt and modified over the last couple years that I really just want to like put back into the world as like actual, you know, usable, user-friendly kind of pedal board friendly units. There's like a lot of misunderstood circuits out there, I think, that deserve to be shown. And there's a lot of really cool, obscure fuzz pedals that came out in like the 70s. They sound really cool and amazing, but they're popular on the DIY scene, but no one really, in my opinion, has like gotten it right, gotten, you know, a wide release with it or anything like that. So I kind of wanted to come out with a series, kind of revamp those circuits and stuff and put an original spin on like an old circuit, you know?
Yeah. Well, that is definitely one of the fun things when you're hunting around on the internet, just finding like, what are all these old pedals that sometimes maybe you haven't heard of or don't understand that it's the root of something that someone else built that's awesome. But Chris, thank you so much for walking us through all of your work, your pedals, and your inspirations for them. I think that's a really important part of helping to get into a pedal is like, what was the inspiration and where did you take that inspiration to new places? So we really appreciate that, man. Thank you for sharing all that.
Cool. No problem. Yeah, my pleasure.
Let's see, John standing in for Jared today, who we miss dearly. I can't even explain how much I missed Jared. We didn't hear his clock go off either.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I could do something that would, you know.
Yeah, don't make our clock sound. But you got a would you rather for us?
I do. So
Perfect.
Now is the time on the show.
Yes.
That we like to refer to as Would You Rather? Today's Would You Rather.
Kind of weak.
Well, I appreciate that he's not trying to go for it because, you know, that's Jared's territory and he's fiercely protective of that.
As you recall, I went for it last time and I caught
you
some
don't want
heck for
Jared
it.
fiercely protective of coming after you.
So today's Would You Rather comes from our dear friend Sam Jett. So you're walking down the street and you see an ad stapled to a telephone pole that says, looking for ripping guitar player. You pull a tab and then you found yourself in the band called Buddhist Priest, specializing in JCM 800 inspired heavy metal glory. However, part of the band's ethos is to not cause excessive disturbance in the universe. And as a result, you and your bandmates have decided not to play any louder than 9 decibels on stage. in order to accomplish this goal, you have two options. So we're getting to the meat and potatoes here, Tony. You'll want to pay attention.
Yes.
Well, he's hungry now.
Would you rather play a JCM 800 voiced 5-watt amp or play a JCM 800 100-watt amp that has been attenuated?
It's a great question.
Ooh,
it's a really great question.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, wait.
Assume that each option will have the same sound pressure level or decibel reading on stage, and that each rig has the same pedal board guitar combo.
Naturally.
And there is a note here that Sam's better half came up with the band name,
Yes.
so we've got to give her some
That's a great
production
name.
credit there.
Very clever. Sam's better half. Ms. Jet. Okay. So
you can have a JCM 800 voiced 5-watt amp,
right?
or you can have a JCM 800
100-watt amp
through an attenuator.
attenuator.
And you have to get it down to 9 dB.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to go with one of the entries, or not entries, but one of the suggestions that we got from Tony's nicknames. Tone Sickle. We're going to we're going to find out what you are going to do. Then we're going to check in with John, hit Chris, and then I'll take us out of this.
I might use that for a pedal.
Yay, why not?
The tone sickle.
Yeah.
We'll think about that. I believe in order to get down to 9 dB, you're going to have to attenuate the hell.
9D. 90.
90 dB.
Oh, 90.
90 dB.
I thought I heard 9.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 9D.
90. Well, that's a little more realistic.
The hair not growing on my head makes 9 dB.
That's what I was going to say. You might as well just not plug in. I heard that.
That one.
I heard that one. I think. I mean, even at 90, I mean, you really have to trim it back quite a ways, and to attenuate a 100-watt amp to make it quiet enough, I think it's going to affect the overall sound of that amp. So I think I think the safer choice would be a JCM 800 voiced 5-watt amp. And that way, if you need to get a little more out of it, you can really crank it, as long as you don't kill any insects while you're doing it. That's part of the Buddhist side.
I wonder if turning it around to this is what you see all the time in clubs where, like, why is the amp backwards? Because they brought in an amp that's too much.
Too
for
big.
that. Yeah.
Too much.
I wonder if that would help bring down the dB facing outward. But that's not really included now. We can't say that.
That changes the SPL.
Yeah, just change your SPL. Okay, John.
So Tony's not going to be on an island by himself this week. And this is an easy one for me because I'm a fan of lower wattage amps anyway. So to me, it's a no-brainer. And really for a lot of the same reasons that Tony said. If you've got an amp that's designed to run at 5 watts, you're going to be a lot closer to that 90 decibel range throughout a lot more of the usable range of that amp's volume. Whereas the 100 watt, you're really going to have to attenuate it, and you're going to lose, I would say, a fair amount of the signature of that sound as it goes through. So, yeah, I'm going to say JCM 500 or 800 voiced 5-watt amp. Final answer, Regis.
All right.
Very good. Welcome to the island.
Okay. Let's see, Chris. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 5-watt voicing as well. I'm definitely lately been into the smaller amps too. You can always it's easier to make something louder that is you can like mic it up and make it louder or something if you want to, but it's hard to make loud things soft overall, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to have 100-watt amp try to make that get quieter.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to sound very good if you're just like have it below 1 on the dial or something like that. Those things sound good cranked. You got to crank them. So yeah,
to get the real business out of them.
Yeah, it's better to have like a modeler or something tiny, so you can have that big sound at a low volume. It's designed for that. So yeah, JCM 800 5 water all day.
Okay. Todd?
Well, I'm going to do the same thing. We talked about all the obvious reasons. There's a reason that I don't bring a half stack into any shows I'm doing, just because you just can't. And having especially if you're, I think that this is something that people don't necessarily think about, but wherever you're practicing, whatever volume you feel is going to be like, yes, this sounds awesome, in all that likelihood is either going to be too high or too low, depending on where you are ultimately playing, which is going to also greatly affect what your effects are doing. So if you're running drive stuff as well, and all of a sudden you got to take your amp volume down by half or boost it to where it's breaking up because you're actually on an outdoor stage, and it makes a huge difference. So I like the lesser wattage. So
plus you can always mic a 5-watt amp.
Yeah, as Chris was talking about. So that was a pretty good one. Thank you, Sam Jett, for sending that in.
And Mrs. Jett.
And Ms. Jett. So that's a good name, Ms. Jett. We are going to thank a handful of people, actually 2 handfuls of people, and then we're going to say goodbye to our friend Chris. Okay? Go ahead. Hang on.
Am I missing something?
Go ahead, Tony Dude Schnitzel.
Oh, such great things.
While he's looking that up, how many names are on this list?
There's a handful.
Many.
Many.
Yeah.
Many.
Okay.
You know, Todd, at this point of the show,
Yep.
there's a special group of people that we love to thank. Those are our executive producers. Now, you might be wondering, what's an executive producer? And maybe more importantly, how, as a mere mortal, could I become an executive producer? Quite simple. Go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple of levels you can participate and become a sponsor, a patron, if you will, of this very podcast. Each level comes with a great bevy of thank you gifts, things like barefoot buttons and picks and flashlights and keychains and T-shirts and stickers. All the things.
All of it.
But as an executive producer, you get all the great stuff. I'm not going to lie. But there's one thing more.
Well, there's a lot of things more, let's be honest.
Well, okay. But there's one thing in particular that I'm addressing right now.
Yes.
What is that, John Esterly?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. Tom Barazin, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Ken Sayers, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lam, Anthony Lathrop, John Englund, John Esterly.
That sounds right.
Justin Jones, James White, Matt Hart, Bill Gola Guitars, Richard Kendall, Tig Harmon, John Jackson, Jason Rausch, Gary Cooper, Mark Garton, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Trevor Gunberg, Rick Calhoun, Anthony Gemolero, John Halverson, and Drew Lopez. Thank you.
Thank you. Much.
But wait, Todd.
Yes.
There's more.
There always is.
Because there's the upper echelon of executive producers. We call them our grand poobahs. These fine folks get to wear a fez upon their head while listening. In fact, they're required to wear the fez upon their head while listening to the podcast. So I hope all of these people are wearing their fezes. Special thanks to these grand poobahs: Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound, Cody Foster, Sean S. Tom Emanasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Novak, Tyler Rhines, James Pennington, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, Johnny Morales, Mel Sanders, Bob Crouch, Sam Jett. We just heard from Sam. Michio Murakishi, Martin Cliff, Hex Matos, Michael Van Zant, Brian Robinson, and John Daly.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you all so very much. We truly appreciate you to the fullest. Thank you.
Couldn't do it without you.
Yes. Chris, where can people find your things and get them things?
So on the internet, it's vaderin.com, VADERIN.com, and on Instagram, Vaderin Pedals. I also just started a Twitter. It's like two people on there. A few people. So I can't remember if it's even Vaderin or Vaderin Pedals, but
you'll find it.
Just mostly Instagram, and I got a YouTube, Vaderin Pedals on YouTube.
Yeah.
But Vaderin.com and Vaderin Pedals on Instagram are the main places that I hang out. So
all right.
And DM me anytime.
Yes, do that.
Do you
and go get them pedals.
Questions,
especially the HXs with the all the color things you're going to be doing. I can feel it coming out. Let's see here, Tony.
Yes, Todd.
How about yourself?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out a couple of things that I've got available for sale on the site. By and large, what I do is custom work. So, shoot me an email. Let me know what you're looking for. Let me know what you want to do. I might have a good idea for you, how to accomplish everything you want. We can discuss materials. We can discuss size. We can discuss shapes.
Okay.
Shoot me an email.
Perfect. John.
Well, depending on when this drops, you will have either just missed the new pedal drop or it will be coming up soon. So there is a new pedal coming from Rare Buzz Effects November 15th. So look at your calendar and make some decisions about that. Until then or after then, website is www.rarebuzzer.com. That's Rare Buzz with the ER at the end. And then it's at Rare Buzzer anywhere that social media is sold.
Awesome. New harmonic percolator coming out no, I'm just kidding.
He's doing X's. He's doing X's and hearts.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like the fuzz face.
Right? All right. You can send me an email, Todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also direct message me on Instagram @guitarknobs. Send us a note. Send us your would you rathers. Especially, we love getting those. All right. We also wanted to say, hello, Maxine! Hope you like the show. Hope you like your dad on the show.
Hi, Maxine.
That's cool. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
So that's his daughter, by the way. Sorry, everybody's like, who's what? Maxine? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
My baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR.
Nope.
No.
Go. Yeah, I didn't have your volume up.
No.
So sorry.
Your fader was down.
Am I not plugged in?
The Vader fader was down.
The Vader fader. You drink that whole bottle.
My mama said that the devil put pulp in orange juice, so I am not allowed to drink that.
Cody Lane is in my head and in my eyes. My baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y. Clink, you bumbling fool.
Most people call me Novak.
Novak, we need more whiskey.
I'm an idiot.
Oh, I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say...
That's Tony's MO.
It's strictly for medicinal purposes.
Yes.
All right, absolutely.
Takes me half a bottle of bourbon to keep me from cutting off Todd's head and putting it in a bowling bag.
Love that.
Okay. All right. I'm not really sure what to do with that.
Buy more whiskey.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's weird. I feel like I know you guys. It's like a weird thing. I listen to the show like every week. I mean, I listen to every show.
Oh man, that's
cool.
That's
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird talking to you. It's easy.
I know nothing. I see nothing. I'm pretty sure that came from a
Embalmer.
science place. A place of science.
Embalmer.
Well, they do science there too.
Jared is her favorite character.
Yeah.
Everybody
He's our
loves
favorite character
Jared.
too.
Loves Jared so much.
Yeah.
Is it good? Are we good?
We're good.
We're good.
Was it a good talk?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because Oscar
have glasses
Mayer
on.
has a way with
I just moved it a foot.
B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.